The Creek Dog. Emma first saw the dog in late May, when school still wasn't over, but everyone had already stopped caring. The creek behind their rental house ran slow and green, and she went there to throw sticks and think about nothing. The dog was in the water, trying to climb the muddy bank. Big, golden, soaked. His fur clung to him in wet ribbons. He looked at her like, "Well?" "Hey, buddy," Emma said. She was 11, old enough to know you shouldn't just grab strange dogs. But this dog's tail started thumping the water, and his dark eyes were the kind that trusted people by default. She slid down, grabbed his collar, there was no collar, and helped him up. He shook all over, spraying creek water on her t-shirt. "You're huge," she said, laughing. The dog panted, tongue out, leaning on her like they'd done this 100 times. When she brought him to the house, her dad was on his laptop at the kitchen table. "Dad?" He looked up, then did a double take. "That is not a cat. He was in the creek. That's somebody's dog. He didn't have a collar." Her dad stared at the dog, then at her. He was a single dad, which meant he was tired most of the time and didn't always say no fast enough. "We can post online," he said, "and put up signs. If no one calls." He didn't finish. Emma grinned at the dog. "Hear that?" The dog thumped his tail. "What are we calling him until then?" Dad asked. Emma looked at the sun on his fur. "Honey," she said. "He's Honey." Honey wagged like he agreed. Part 2. Posters nobody read. They printed 4 posters on the home printer, found Labrador and Emma's dad's number. Emma drew a little paw in the corner. They taped them to the mailbox row, to the bulletin board at the grocery store, to the door of the laundromat. For 2 days, nobody called. In the meantime, Honey acted as if he had always lived there. He followed Emma from room to room. He lay on her feet when she did homework. He waited at the bathroom door. At night, when the house got too quiet, he sighed in that deep dog way that fills space. "Don't get attached," Dad said, rinsing dishes. "Someone might still—" Honey, right then, came over and rested his chin on Dad's hip. "Oh, come on," Dad said, wiping his hands on a towel. "You're playing dirty." On the 3rd day, around dinner time, Dad checked his phone and said, "Well, looks like no one misses you, Guy." Emma sat up. "So?" Dad sighed, the sigh of a man outnumbered by 1 kid and 1 dog. "So I guess he's ours." Emma threw her arms around Honey's neck. Honey wagged so hard his whole back bent. "Welcome home," she whispered into his fur. Part 3. Summer Neighborhood Patrol. That summer became the summer of Honey. They learned fast that Honey was smart and very, very social. Kids on bikes? He wanted to meet them. Mailman? Best friend. Mrs. Rodriguez from 2 houses down, bringing in groceries? Honey trotted over like a gentleman to supervise. Emma and Honey made patrols around the neighborhood. Emma on foot, Honey off leash, staying close because he wanted to, not because she told him to. Sometimes they went to the park and threw the slobbery tennis ball until Honey's tongue lolled sideways. "Your dog is so well behaved," people said. "He's not my dog," Emma said at first. "He's our dog." But inside, she liked the sound of my. At night, they lay in the backyard grass. The air smelled like grill smoke from other people's dinners and like the pine tree that dropped little brown needles. Fireflies blinked. Planes crossed the sky. "Do you miss someone?" she asked Honey once. "Like another family?" Honey rolled on his back and showed his belly. "That's what I thought," Emma said, and rubbed his chest. Part 4. The day things changed, in September. Emma's mom came over to talk. Her mom smelled like her new apartment, a mix of perfume and laundry detergent that wasn't the one Dad bought. She sat on the couch and held her coffee with both hands, like the cup was the important thing. "I'm going to be living across town for a while," Mom said. "But you can come stay on weekends." Emma nodded like this was fine. Inside, it sloshed. The world tilted just a little. Honey, sensing unease the way dogs do, came over and put his head in Emma's lap. Mom smiled. "You got a dog?" "He found me," Emma said. "He's beautiful. He's Honey." Mom scratched behind his ears. Honey accepted it but stayed with Emma. That night, after Mom left, Emma lay on her bed, not crying because she wasn't sure what to cry about. The house was still the house. Dad was still Dad. Mom wasn't gone. Not the dramatic way people said gone. But it was like a picture had been taken off the wall, and now there was a lighter rectangle where it used to be. Honey jumped up on the bed without asking. He was warm and heavy, and when Emma finally let herself sniffle, he didn't move away. Part 5. Honey, the hero. October brought cold air and soccer season. Emma wasn't the best player, but she was fast and didn't mind getting muddy. Honey came to practices lying by the fence like a golden guardian. One afternoon, Maya, a girl from her team, started crying because her little brother had wandered toward the parking lot. Parents were shouting. The little brother, 3 years old and sticky, had that wobbly toddler run. Honey leapt up and trotted after him, tail up. He didn't bark, he just got in front of the toddler like, "Hey, turn around, kid," and nudged him back toward the grass. Everyone laughed in that relieved way. "Your dog's a hero," Maya said. "He just likes kids," Emma said, but she felt proud. That night, Emma told Dad the whole story, reenacting Honey's slow, patient nudge. "He's a good dog," Dad said. "He's the best dog," Emma corrected, and Honey, from under the table, thumped the floor. Part 6. Snow Dog winter came early that year. Real snow, not the sad dusting that melted by noon. School was canceled, which meant Emma got to see Honey see snow for the first time. He loved it. He bounced, shoved his nose in it, came up with a white muzzle. He chased falling clumps from tree branches. He rolled on his back and made something like a dog snow angel. Emma threw a snowball at him. Honey leapt to catch it and looked deeply confused when it exploded. They built a crooked snowman. Honey stole both stick arms and chewed them. When they got too cold, they went inside and Emma wrapped herself in a blanket. Honey lay on her feet, damp and steaming slightly. "You know," Dad said from the kitchen, "some people say dogs like labs are the perfect family dogs." "We're a family," Emma said. "Yeah," Dad said softly. "We are." Part 7. Middle school complications. By spring, Emma was in middle school mode, which meant more homework, more group projects, and more drama over who sat with whom at lunch. Some days she came home with her jaw tight. Maybe Maya had sat with the 8th graders. Maybe some boy had made fun of her sneakers. Maybe Mom had texted to cancel a weekend. Honey met her at the door every time, whole body wag. "You," she said, dropping her backpack, "are the only one who gets it." They went for long walks. Emma talked. Honey listened. She told him about Jess, who had suddenly decided she was too cool. She told him about Mom's new boyfriend, who was nice, but wore cologne you could smell from the car. She told him about how sometimes she missed being a little kid and not knowing what everyone thought all the time. Honey trotted beside her, brushing her hand now and then with his head. When they got home, things felt less sharp. Part 8. The lake trip. That summer, Dad rented a tiny cabin by a lake for 3 days. "Cheap off-season deal," he said, "and they allow dogs." "Because they are good people," Emma said. The lake was glassy and green. There was a dock. There were dragonflies. There were other families with kids and dogs. Honey was in heaven. Water and fetch. His 2 favorite things together. Emma threw a stick out. Honey launched himself after it, a golden arrow. He swam strong and sure, joy in every stroke. A younger girl on the dock said, "Your dog swims better than my brother." "Mine too," Emma said. They stayed till the sun turned orange. Honey lay on the deck later, exhausted, head on Emma's sandal. Dad grilled burgers. Mom couldn't come, work. But for once, Emma didn't mind. The moment felt full already. "Remember this," Emma told herself. "This exact day." Honey snored. Part 9. First scare. It happened in the fall, when Honey was about 6. Not old, but not a puppy. They were in the backyard. Honey was chasing a squirrel. his favorite useless task, when he suddenly stopped, sat down, and wouldn't get up. "Honey?" Emma said. He panted, but in a strained way. He tried to rise, and one of his back legs slid. Emma's heart knocked hard. "Dad!" They took him to the vet. The waiting room smelled like disinfectant and fear. Honey lay on the floor, looking at her, trusting her. The vet, a calm woman with gray hair, checked him over. "He strained his knee," she said. "Labs are active and they can hurt themselves. Rest him for a bit. We'll watch his joints as he ages." "As he ages," Emma repeated. On the drive home, the words sat between her and Honey like an invisible passenger. That night, Honey slept on his bed by hers. Emma reached down and stroked his head. "Don't get old," she whispered. "Okay? Just don't." Part 10. High School Already. 3 years passed fast, the way years do when you start measuring them in semesters and sports seasons and dances you don't go to. Emma got taller. She learned to drive in Dad's old sedan. She started thinking about colleges, maybe ones not in their town. Honey got whiter around the muzzle. He still wagged like always, but slower to get up. Stairs took more effort. On cold days, his joints were stiff. "Hey, old man," Emma said, rubbing his chest. "You're still handsome." He rested his head in her lap like, "Obviously." When she stayed over at Mom's, she missed the sound of Honey's claws on the kitchen tile. She missed him waiting outside the bathroom door. She missed the smell of sun-warm fur. "Are you okay with me leaving next year?" she asked him once in the backyard under the same pine tree. It was dumb. Dogs didn't know about college application deadlines. But Honey lifted his head and looked at her like he knew her, and that was enough. Part 11. The Hardest Day. It was January, cold, gray, quiet. Honey had been slowing down more, eating less. The vet had warned them about labs in their hips, about age, about quality of life. Dad had sat with Emma one night and said, "We have to pay attention, Breh Em. We owe him that." That morning, Honey didn't want to get up. Not just lazy. Couldn't. Emma knelt beside him. "Hey, boy. Hey, Honey." His tail moved once, a small wag. At the vet, the room was warm. They put a soft blanket down. The vet talked in that kind, professional way. Dad was there, hand on Emma's shoulder. "You gave him a good life," the vet said. "He's had a wonderful family." Emma's throat hurt. She put her forehead to Honey's. "Thank you," she whispered, "for everything, for staying." Honey smelled like home, even then. When it was over, the room felt too big. They buried him under the apple tree in the backyard in ground that was colder than she wanted it to be. Dad said they could have him cremated, but Emma wanted him there, where he'd chased squirrels and rolled in the grass. She didn't cry right away. Grief sat like a stone, heavy, but not moving yet. Part 12. What Stays Spring Came, because it always does. The apple tree above Honey's spot bloomed white and soft. Emma sat there sometimes after school, backpack beside her, like she used to sit with him. She was 18 now, accepted to a state college 2 hours away. Dad was proud. Mom was proud. Emma was mostly scared, but in the good way. One afternoon, Dad came out and sat next to her. "I still expect to see him at the door," he said. "Me too." They were quiet. A bird shouted from the fence. "You know," Dad said, "when we first found him, I thought he was going to be trouble." "He was." "Yeah," Dad said, smiling. "The best kind." Emma looked at the tree, at the yard that had been the background of so much ordinary happiness. Honey wasn't there in body, but the shape of him was. In habits, in stories, in the way she slowed down to notice things. She thought about that first day by the creek, a wet dog and a girl who didn't yet know she'd found her first great love. Love, she realized, wasn't always fireworks. Sometimes it was a dog waiting outside the bathroom door. Sometimes it was fur on your black jeans. Sometimes it was muddy paw prints you complained about but secretly loved. She rested her hand on the grass. "Hi, honey," she said quietly. "I'm okay." And she was. Not because she hadn't lost him, but because she'd had him. All those summers, all those walks, all those nights when he filled the silence. What stays, she thought, is what we loved well. Then she stood up, slung her backpack over her shoulder, and went inside.